is entitled Miktzat Hayom Kakulo, when Availut finishes on the seventh day. At what time does it end? This year is in honor of the Hakimian, his two sisters and his brother, in memory of the mom that passed away, this Motzi Shabbat, just a day ago. Wonderful lady, raised 4 beautiful children, suffered. It was not easy for her. She could not see, blind, but never complained, and accepted everything that Hashem handed her. Seva panim yafo, with a smile, and with always a positive attitude. May her memory be for a blessing. So you have an interesting question. She passed away Motzi Shabbat, and then the burial was Sunday afternoon. We had the Hespedim, the eulogy, in Shamgar at 5 o'clock, and then we went to the burial, and the burial was a little bit before Shkia, just enough time to finish the burial, and then for the Availut to daven Mincha back at Shamgar. So that means that Sunday is the first day of Availut. We say that once the burial is done before Shkia, so then even if it's a few minutes of sitting Shiva, once we're Menachem Avel, they take off the shoes. So at that point, that's the first day of Availut because of the famous rule of Miktzat Hayom Kakulo. When they observe part of the day of mourning, that's already considered the first day of mourning. But now here's where things get interesting. So Sunday's the first day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. How does the halacha work out when we finish Availut on Shabbat in the morning? So normally on a typical day, one finishes, let's say, Tuesday morning. So the Availim daven, then they sit, which is clearly an act of Availut. They sit on a low chair or on the floor. And then everyone is menachim them. So that's the act of Availut and the act of Nicham Availut, of consoling the Availim. And then we get up. So that's the classic way to end Shiva. Well, what happens on Shabbat morning where they're not sitting Shiva? And the Menachem and the consolers are not there to greet them, and then they end that process, and that ends Shiva. So what happens? So the Bach, in his commentary to the Torah, has a startling point. He says you cannot end Shiva on a Shabbat. You need to do an act of Availut, and that act of Availut is what counts for the day of mourning, and you can't do that on Shabbat because there's no act of Availut on Shabbat. It's true the Avel doesn't wash in warm water. Dvarim shebetzina. He cannot have an Avel cannot be involved in intimacy during Shabbat. So, but those are all private signs of mourning. There's no public act of Availut. So the Bach says he has to just wait it out. And the idea of finishing Shiva in the morning cannot work on Shabbat. The Taz, that's his son-in-law, the son-in-law of the Bach, respectfully argues with his father and with his father-in-law. He says, my dear father-in-law, when do we need an act of Availut to be the final act and that ends Shiva? On the other 6 days, on the weekdays, when the Shiva ends on a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, because there the nature of the Availut on that day is an active Availut. So you need, the mourner needs to be involved in the Availut of that day, and then once he's involved in the Availut of that day, it ends. So you need an act of Availut, because that's what the Availut demands from Sunday through Friday, when those are the days of Availut. So therefore, if the last day of Availut is any of the weekdays, he needs to do an act of Availut, of sitting, with his ripped shirt, and then the consolers console him, and he gets up. But on Shabbat, there's no act of Availut. But there's no need to do an act of Availut to end the Shiva. There just needs to be a status of Availut according to that specific day. So during the weekdays, the Avilut's carried out through the positive act. On Shabbat, it's carried out by just being. By abstaining from washing, abstaining from relations. He's living like an Avel, a Shabbat Avel. So you're right, there's no sitting. He's not going to be with his rip shirt. There's no one going to come and can talk to him and console him. It's true, because that's not Shabbat Availut. That's weekday Availut. But once he observes Shabbat Availut in the morning, then that's it. He finished his Shiva. So, which means, practically speaking, the sun rises, and now a minute goes by with him as an Avel, and Miktzah Yom Kippur, part of the day, counts for Availut, and he finishes Shiva right then and there. The Taz just says the minhag is to wait and not treat him as a total Avel of Shloshim just yet. And we wait till after davening in the morning. Why? Because during the week, we wait till after his minyan is finished. So on Shabbat, that is the minhag, the practice to wait till after Shabbat davening is over, and then we, so to speak, but then that's when his Shiva is done. So we have three practices here. The Bach says when the Shiva is on the last day, is on Shabbat, straight to Shabbat he's an Avel, because he didn't do an act to end it. The Taz and Shach as well argue and say not true. You only need an act of Availut to end the Availut when that's the nature of the Availut for the day. But when the Availut is passive, so just being passive as the day begins, a few moments after sunrise, and abstaining for whatever is asur, that's the Availut for the day. It's over a minute after sunrise. But then the third opinion is more like just the minhag. The Taz says to wait till after Shacharit, and then Shacharit is over, davening is over, then we go out and say, just like the weekday the davening, after davening is finished, so too during Shabbat. And the practical nafkamina difference comes out in the Taz's first opinion, and the practice that he mentions is, can the Avel get an aliyah in the morning in shul? So the Taz would say, technically, yes, he can. Because the second the sun rose a few hours ago, he's done with Shiva. And person in Shloshim certainly can get an aliyah. According to the Taz, what he explains, the minhag is to wait till after davening, just like we do during the weekday. So then, he would not get an aliyah. The Avel would not get an aliyah during the morning of Shabbat davening. And if the Gavra was given a aliyah, it's a nice kavod to give him an aliyah, then he would do it at mincha time. So that's just an overview of Availut when it finishes on Shabbat. May the Hakimian family have Nechama b'toch Shar of Lei Yisrael, and we wish to share Smachot together. Shalom.